Imagine a honeymoon in paradise that transforms into a nightmare of betrayal, rage, and bloodshed. Ethan Caldwell and Sophia Monroe appeared to have it all. A whirlwind romance, an opulent wedding, and a dream getaway to the Maldives. Yet beneath the veneer of their perfect love story lay cracks invisible to the untrained eye. Cracks born of secrets too dark to share. What began as a tale of passion and promise unraveled into chaos, exposing deception, identity struggles, societal judgment, and the devastating cost of unbridled emotion. It's a chilling reminder of how easily the bonds of love can fray when tethered to hidden truths and unspoken past. Before we look into this electrifying narrative of love, lies, and betrayal, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that peel back the layers of human relationships to expose the unrelenting truth. Ethan Caldwell was the embodiment of success. At just 32, he was a tech mogul whose visionary genius had propelled him to unimaginable wealth and recognition. His carefully curated public image reflected a man of discipline and tradition, someone who valued control above all else. Yet on a warm summer evening at a glitzy charity gala, his meticulously ordered life took an unexpected turn. Sophia Monroe, 28, possessed a beauty so striking it silenced rooms. Her effortless poise and air of mystery drew every gaze, and her laughter carried a melodic allure that seemed to isolate her from the crowd's hum. Ethan was mesmerized. When their paths finally crossed, the magnetic pull between them was undeniable, an attraction that neither could ignore. Ethan was captivated by Sophia's intelligence and elegance, while Sophia, despite her cautious nature, found herself intrigued by his unwavering confidence. But behind her poised exterior, Sophia held a truth she had spent years bearing, a truth that could shatter everything. Sophia was a trans woman who had fought tirelessly to create a new life, one defined by strength and self-acceptance. Yet her past was not without its shadows. Accusations of blackmail from a long-forgotten scandal clung to her like a ghost, threatening to resurface at the most inopportune moments. As their connection deepened, Sophia navigated their growing intimacy with precision, guarding her secrets like a fortress. Ethan, enthralled by the perfection of their romance, remained oblivious to the storm brewing just beyond his reach. What happened next would challenge everything they thought they knew about love, trust, and each other. Understanding the weight of Ethan's traditional values and the potential fallout of her truth, Sophia carefully guarded her secrets. Ethan, completely captivated, let his need for control manifest in small but telling ways, choosing her attire for public appearances, orchestrating their dates down to the last detail. Sophia handled these moments with poise, always navigating the delicate balance between accommodating his quirks and preserving her own autonomy. This isn't just a story, it's a journey. So let's walk it together. Hit subscribe now and stay with us as we continue. In less than a year, their whirlwind romance culminated in a wedding that dazzled their social circles. The ceremony was a spectacle of grandeur, with opulent decor and a guest list featuring influencers, executives, and media elites. For Ethan, it was a crowning achievement, a symbol of success and stability. For Sophia, it was a fragile but hopeful step toward leaving her past behind. Their honeymoon was set in a private villa in the Maldives, an exotic retreat that mirrored the perfection their union portrayed to the world. Friends and followers saw a couple embarking on a dream journey, but cracks were beginning to form beneath the surface. Sophia's occasional moments of guarded behavior hinted at an internal struggle she couldn't entirely conceal. Meanwhile, Ethan's increasing need for control created a quiet but growing tension. On the flight to paradise, Ethan was blissfully unaware of the truths Sophia carried, while Sophia walked an invisible tightrope, praying that her carefully constructed world would remain intact. But the idyllic setting they were heading to would soon become the stage for betrayal, confrontation, and irreversible consequences. Their first evening in the Maldives was idyllic. The villa, perched over crystal-clear waters, offered every luxury imaginable. As waves gently lapped against the stilts, Sophia excused herself for a shower, leaving Ethan alone in the bedroom. It was a rare moment of solitude for a man accustomed to orchestrating every aspect of his life, but unease crept in. Those fleeting moments of guardedness from Sophia, barely noticeable during their courtship, now lingered in Ethan's mind. As his gaze fell on Sophia's phone, charging innocuously on the nightstand, curiosity clashed with an unsettling sense of entitlement. He hesitated, his hand hovering above the device. The decision to look wasn't conscious. It was instinctive, driven by his desire for control and the faint suspicion that something was amiss. Ethan unlocked her phone using a passcode he had casually observed weeks earlier. What he found changed everything. The messages were subtle at first, casual exchanges with a confidant, but then came references to a past Ethan hadn't been privy to, mentions of gender-affirming surgery in her mid-20s, and discussions that confirmed a truth Sophia had never shared. She was a trans woman. Ethan sat frozen, his world shifting under the weight of the revelation. Emotions surged, confusion, anger, betrayal, all colliding in a storm that neither the pristine waters of the Maldives nor the opulent villa could quell. Sophia's truth, now laid bare, threatened to unravel not just their honeymoon, but everything they had built together. If this story gripped you, sparked deep emotions, or left you questioning the complexities of love, identity, and justice, don't stop here. Hit subscribe to stay connected to more compelling narratives that dive into the darker, thought-provoking corners of human relationships. Your support means everything. Click like and share to help spread these stories. Don't miss the next heart-pounding tale. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. As the sound of running water continued from the bathroom, Ethan's thoughts raced. What came next would set the stage for a series of events that neither could ever undo. Sophia's voice cracked as she pleaded, "Ethan, stop! Please, just listen to me." Her trembling frame was pressed against the remnants of the shattered coffee table. Blood began to dot her skin where shards had grazed her arms and legs. Her wide eyes, filled with both fear and sorrow, locked onto his. Ethan stood over her, his chest heaving, his fists clenched tightly. His face, a mask of fury moments ago, now shifted into something far more conflicted, a blend of anguish and disbelief. For a fleeting second, it seemed as though reason might pierce through his haze of rage, but the storm inside him refused to subside. "You lied to me, Sophia," he spat, his voice trembling with suppressed emotion. "You let me build a life, a future with you, and you hid everything. Who are you? Who are you, really?" Sophia winced as she pushed herself up, her voice a desperate whisper. "I'm still the same person you fell in love with. Ethan, please, I never wanted to hurt you. I wanted a chance for us to be happy without the weight of my past overshadowing everything." Ethan's laugh was bitter, almost unrecognizable. "Happy? Do you think I can ever look at you the same way again? Do you think the world will? You've destroyed us." Her heart sank further. She reached out to him, her hand trembling. "We don't have to let this destroy us. We can—" "No!" His voice cut through her words like a blade. "There is no we anymore. You took that from me the moment you decided to keep this from me. You let me believe in something that wasn't real." Tears streamed down her face as she found her voice again, stronger now despite her pain. "It was real, Ethan. Everything we shared, everything we built, it was real. You're letting your pride and anger blind you to the truth." For a moment, silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating. The once luxurious villa seemed to shrink around them, its beauty now grotesquely incongruent with the turmoil inside. Ethan turned away, his hands gripping the edge of a nearby table. His knuckles whitened as he stared out at the serene ocean view, its tranquility mocking his inner chaos. His breath was ragged, his mind a whirlwind of shattered expectations and wounded pride. Sophia, still kneeling among the shards of glass, didn't dare move. Her body ached, but the pain in her chest was far worse. She watched him, hoping, praying, that the man she loved would find a way back to reason. When Ethan finally spoke, his voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "You should go." The words hit her harder than any blow could. She blinked, unsure if she had heard him correctly. "What?" "Leave," he said, louder this time, his tone devoid of warmth. "Get out. I won't do this anymore." Sophia felt the ground shift beneath her. She pushed herself up, wobbling as fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Ethan, please, don't do this. Not like this." But Ethan didn't respond. He stood there, rigid and unyielding, his back to her as if he couldn't bear to look at her any longer. Realizing there was nothing more she could say, Sophia turned and began to gather her things, her movements slow and shaky. And as the door clicked shut behind her, the villa, now eerily quiet, bore witness to a silence far more deafening than any argument could have been. Ethan's frantic cleanup felt futile, as the villa bore witness to the truth he couldn't erase. The bloodstains on the white rug, the broken glass, and Sophia's lifeless body were all damning evidence. He moved in a feverish state, his mind racing with the weight of what he'd done. He dragged her body with trembling hands to the villa's balcony, each step a harrowing reminder of his crime. As he positioned her at the edge, he muttered to himself, trying to convince himself of the narrative he was constructing. She slipped. She must have. It's tragic, but possible. He toppled a chair and scattered broken shards of a decorative vase near her body. He forced himself to think like an investigator, but his panic undermined his logic. The bruises, the cuts, he told himself they could be explained away by the supposed fall. But deep down, he knew the truth would linger just beneath the surface. Is this story making you question the depths of human relationships? Don't miss what's next. Hit subscribe for more gripping tales that explore love, identity, and justice. Let's keep the conversation alive as we continue. With each moment, the villa's oppressive silence seemed to grow louder, amplifying his guilt. He wiped down surfaces hurriedly, trying to eliminate fingerprints and any trace of his rage. Yet his hands shook, and in his haste he left smudges and overlooked obvious signs of a struggle. Finally, Ethan picked up the phone and called the concierge. His voice was strained, but he forced a calm facade. "This is Ethan Caldwell in Villa 7. I need to arrange an early checkout. A personal emergency has come up." The concierge, polite and professional, offered assistance. "Mr. Caldwell, we're deeply sorry to hear that. Would you like us to send housekeeping or arrange transport for you and Mrs. Caldwell?" Ethan's reply was sharp and rehearsed. "No, that won't be necessary. Just have the boat ready to take me to the mainland as soon as possible." As he ended the call, his chest heaved with shallow breaths. His mind spun with conflicting emotions: fear, guilt, and a twisted need to escape. He glanced at Sophia's body one last time, her face bruised and bloodied. A pang of something he couldn't quite name pierced through his panic. But there was no time for remorse. Ethan knew the staff would arrive soon to assist with his departure. He grabbed his suitcase, shoving clothes inside without care. Each item he packed felt heavier, as though it carried the weight of his crime. The villa, once a haven of luxury and romance, now stood as a silent mausoleum. The pristine walls and opulent decor bore the marks of the chaos that had unfolded. The shattered coffee table, the blood-stained rug, and the overturned furniture, all remnants of a love story turned tragedy. When the knock came at the door, Ethan stiffened. He took a deep breath, smoothed his shirt, and forced a mask of composure. Opening the door, he greeted the attendant with a tight-lipped smile. "Your boat is ready, Mr. Caldwell," the staff member said, their cheerful demeanor oblivious to the horrors concealed within the villa. Ethan nodded, stepping out into the balmy night air. The gentle ocean breeze kissed his skin, mocking him with its serenity. As he boarded the boat, he cast a final glance at the villa. In his mind, the walls seemed to stare back, as if they held the secrets he so desperately wanted to bury. The boat's engine roared to life, cutting through the stillness of the night. Ethan sat rigid, his hands gripping the seat beneath him. The waves lapped against the sides of the boat, their rhythm steady and unyielding, in a stark contrast to the chaos within him. As the island faded into the distance, Ethan's thoughts turned to the days ahead. How would he explain this? Could he live with the weight of what he'd done? Each question felt heavier than the last, pulling him deeper into the abyss of his own making. Unbeknownst to him, the villa would not remain silent forever. The shattered glass, the bloodstains, and the inconsistencies in his story would tell a tale he couldn't silence. And somewhere, beneath the calm facade of the ocean, the truth waited to rise to the surface. The trial of Ethan Caldwell became a global sensation, dissecting the tragic narrative that had unfolded in the secluded luxury of the Maldives resort. The courtroom, teeming with spectators, was split between those seeking justice for Sophia Monroe and others grappling with the emotional complexities of the case. Think you've seen it all? There's more to uncover. Subscribe now and never miss another tale that dives deep into the complexities of human emotion and suspense. The next shocking story is just a click away. Prosecutors meticulously laid out the chain of events leading to Sophia's death. The forensic evidence was damning: blood spatter patterns indicative of multiple blows, signs of a violent struggle in the suite, and injuries inconsistent with a fall. Ethan's recorded confession played in the courtroom, his voice breaking as he recounted the attack, attempting to rationalize it through his feelings of anger and betrayal. They painted Ethan as a man driven by possessiveness, whose controlling tendencies culminated in an explosive act of violence. The pristine honeymoon, prosecutors argued, was a facade masking a volatile relationship. Sophia's death, they emphasized, was not a tragic accident, but a deliberate act of rage. The defense sought to humanize Ethan, portraying him as a man overwhelmed by emotional turmoil. They revealed that Ethan had discovered a deeply personal secret about Sophia's past during their honeymoon, which they claimed triggered an uncontrollable emotional breakdown. They argued that his actions were not premeditated, but the result of a momentary lapse in judgment fueled by intense feelings of betrayal and heartbreak. Psychologists testified about the effects of emotional shock and how it could lead to irrational behavior. The defense pleaded for leniency, framing Ethan as a deeply flawed man whose actions, while unforgivable, were driven by temporary insanity rather than malice. The case sparked widespread debate, with media outlets and social media platforms erupting into discussions about domestic violence, toxic relationships, and the societal pressures surrounding marriage. Activists rallied outside the courthouse, demanding justice for Sophia and raising awareness about intimate partner violence. Others expressed sympathy for Ethan, believing his actions were the tragic result of a man pushed to the edge. After weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated. They returned a verdict of guilty of second-degree murder, rejecting the defense's plea for diminished responsibility. Ethan was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Sophia's family, present throughout the trial, expressed a mix of grief and relief. "This verdict won't bring Sophia back," her sister said in a tearful statement, "but it's a step towards justice for her and for victims of domestic violence everywhere." The resort, once a haven of luxury and exclusivity, faced backlash and scrutiny for its design and policies that facilitated such an isolated tragedy. Changes were made to ensure better communication and safety protocols for guests. Ethan's reflection. From his prison cell, Ethan became a shadow of the man he once was. The isolation of incarceration mirrored the isolation of the villa where his life unraveled. He began writing letters to Sophia's family, seeking forgiveness he knew he might never receive. In his moments of solitude, the memories of that night replayed endlessly, a haunting reminder of a love turned to ruin. Sophia Monroe's death became a symbol of the need for greater understanding and education about gender identity. It also exposed the tragic consequences of societal prejudice, unchecked rage, and the dangerous weight of secrets. Ethan's actions, driven by a mix of personal insecurity and ingrained biases, left a trail of pain and unanswered questions. This case forces us to confront difficult truths. How do societal pressures shape our perceptions of identity and relationships? Could this tragedy have been avoided through greater transparency, education, or understanding? What steps can we take as a society to foster compassion and bridge the divides that lead to such heartbreaking outcomes? Join the conversation. Sophia's story serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to action. If this narrative left you questioning the boundaries of love, identity, and justice, we invite you to share your thoughts below. Let's work together to ensure that such tragedies lead to meaningful change. Like and subscribe for more stories that challenge perspectives and explore the complexities of human relationships. Don't miss the next tale that delves into the darkest corners of the human heart.